It looks like we have begun streaming, and so I'll do what I have to do, which is move things around, right? Uh, anyway, so we'll start, I suspect, here. Yeah, I think so. And some comments on the video intended to illustrate, well, you have to get through the commercial.
And reasons why
Yes.
NetSuite is better than
He's got two videos that have less than 100 views or whatever it is, 118, and he's got commercials on the videos. Okay, so it was this stupid experiment. Now, I questioned what the hell the third bar is for, because frankly I imagine it's removable. Why would you have it in the experiment? And he actually has it weighted. So he's added a pendulum to the lever. Now, obviously, pendulums are not balanced. There's not the same weight on both sides of a pendulum. It only has one side. So obviously, you're breaking the balance between the two sides of the lever, in the sense that if you do put the lighter masses further out, you've changed the center of mass, essentially, of that side of the lever, and you've created an imbalanced lever. So it's crap. Okay, if somebody really wants to test for something, as if the speed of these objects changes, the energy changes in the system, you can't do it this way, because you're automatically changing it, because you're creating an imbalanced lever, which means the lever basically doesn't perfectly exchange the energy, and therefore it's losing energy as it oscillates. Alright. So, I mean, this can be understood. So again, it's real physics versus this fake crap these people keep spouting. And then they talk as if they understand, and they clearly don't understand, and it's just so ironic. Anyway, so the Ian Gosling guy, alright, is the one who's, he thinks this experiment proves something. Okay, it proves nothing relevant to my argument about levers. Now, whatever it was, 8-10 months ago, I did this stupid thing of a lever on my porch, okay? So, and I had a 4-to-1 lever. That is 4 times the weight, 4 times closer to the fulcrum. Oscillated perfectly. I mean, a lot of oscillations, minutes worth of oscillating. Alright, if you play it out. Okay.
You logically understand it slowly but surely.
So it just keeps going back and forth, oscillates fine, doesn't spin around in any circles, doesn't do anything silly. Same exact principle. You just imbalance it, okay, in terms of one side's higher in gravity, and then you let it go, and it oscillates. Now, their argument is somehow it oscillates at different speeds. So if I put 4 to 4 at the same distance, somehow it's a different speed than if there's one out here and one out at the other end. And there's no logic for that argument. It doesn't conserve momentum. It's completely against all these physics principles that Professor Lewin quote again. You can finagle kinetic energy. You can't. Nature can't finagle momentum. So they just keep ignoring all that and insulting me as if I don't understand something, when clearly they don't understand. They don't understand conservation laws at all. I mean, they just don't matter to these people. So anyway, I feel it's very important, and he should. So Gary needs to comment on it. So Gary commented on. Gary pointed out how I don't really like the setup much, and so spare me, okay, having to explain your bullshit. All right. So little Johnny Walker chimes in. It's really little Johnny walks funny because he has his little dick up his ass. But anyway, yes, I posted a link to him. I couldn't believe his dismissal of it. So I dismissed it for a very good reason. First thing I pointed out is that third arm, and what the fuck is it there for? But ignore it, right? Alright, so this is a guy who... Alright, anyway, I don't think it's possible to reason with him. So then why did you ask to be unblocked? So I did unblock him for 2 days, but I've blocked him again because he just keeps talking this shit. This insulting crap when he's in the wrong. And he's grotesquely in the wrong. I mean, as you will see. Okay. She's an evil monster. Yeah, well, in that vein, you know, these people, they argued that I should be taken off the internet. You know, that's how fascist they are, and that's how afraid they are. They can't just counter my arguments. They can't win the argument. No, they have to try to prevent the argument. All right. Sorry for the late reply. I appreciate you replying to this video to draft. No worries. Whatever that is. Okay, hey, I assume you've seen his response. I have. Do you have any clue why Gary keeps referencing Stephen Bro's trebuchet experiment? No, what I referenced was this experiment by Stephen Bro. So just keep lying some more, right? This one. I pointed out the trebuchet, not as a counter argument. I just pointed out the guy doesn't know the difference between a catapult and a trebuchet. He doesn't understand that a lever has to be balanced. So it's exactly the same argument. If you have a non-balanced lever, you can't make arguments that, look, I proved it doesn't do the same thing where depending on where I put the weights. Yeah, but it's not a balanced lever. So yeah, a balance has to be balanced. You can't use a scale, okay, a lever balance, as a scale if it's in balance. Then it's not a scale anymore. I have to explain that to you? If it doesn't have the same weight on it, it will just swing right down, and that's it. This is where it's going to be, okay? If you don't balance the lever, it does this. It's either in balance or it does this. Those are your two choices, retards. Shit. All right. So I mentioned this one, so here's the irony, right? So the only comment on this brozo video is by Ian Gosling. All right, the guy who asked to be unblocked because he has so much good information to provide. He's so full of great arguments. Just save that name for posterity. So he says, great efforts you make, Steve. The better these videos get. So the video absolutely proves free energy by the kinetic energy formula. He shows an experiment that just overtly proves it. And he's saying, great job. And then he's wondering he's calling somebody else thick and clueless? I mean, fuck. All right, more accurate, better mechanisms, honing it down on the truth. The more he will decry them. Well, I'm not decrying this one. I'm sitting there showing it, saying, look, he just proved me right. What's the argument? Where's the argument here? He just put up a video and he's too stupid to realize he just proved me right. Alright, that doesn't matter because these videos are a resource for anyone who wants to know the truth. Well, this video is. It can think outside the cult. Yeah, the cult of kinetic energy, because obviously he just made free energy. So, I mean, he does a video where he puts the 2 mass here and the 1 mass out here, okay, twice the distance. And he gets pretty close to 2-to-1 results, right? 19 and 11. So this one takes 19 ticks to hit the same spot. The other one takes 11 ticks to hit the same spot. 2-to-1, pretty much decisive. So there's a little spring over here. There's the same distance moved. I mean, it pretty much proves the point. There's nowhere anything close to kinetic energy being rational. The same spring compression creates 2 completely different energies. One of them has 80%, whatever the right number you want to use, right? It's not twice the energy, it's 1.9 more energy. Okay, so how do you explain that? What's your brilliant explanation, fuckheads? I mean, you keep making this argument that this doesn't happen, and yet it's shown right in front of you it happens. Why are you pretending this idiotic video somehow is a proof? So again, no one else commented on it, because I guess others could figure out, ooh, looks like Gary's right, except this idiot. Alright, so in this video is whatever it is, 6 months ago. 6 months ago. Alright, so we have my video, lever perfectly oscillating, no problem. So just remember the lever perfectly oscillating, okay? No, it didn't swing around in circles, didn't do any of that crap. We'll go back to this mindless and moron. All right. I'm being pretty sarcastic. Let's see. Okay. I'll just read this. Hey, I assume you've seen Gary's response. Do you have a clue why Gary keeps referencing Stephen Bro's trebuchet experiment? Because it's not a trebuchet. That's one of the reasons. Okay. It has nothing on the other side of the lever. No weight. It can't be a trebuchet. It's not even using gravity. It's by definition not a trebuchet. Okay. Why does Gary insist this is a problem for me? It's a problem for you because you keep saying I'm wrong. Okay, and none of these experiments demonstrate me wrong. They demonstrate me right. When he shows the trebuchet, the catapult, not moving at the same speed depending on the weight you put on it, he's proving my point, retard. Okay. I'm being pretty sarcastic because Gary is not a serious person with serious things to say. So again, why should I unblock you? You know, but also I am actually curious. Is there actually... It is actually leaving me confused. So you're confused, yet you're more than prepared to insult other people. I'm not confused, frankly. Okay. I wonder what your thoughts are. Okay, so then he goes, that's mindless. So now Ian Gosling says, no, I don't know which experiment that was and how it is relevant to your one. So I guess I could go to the trebuchet one thing and see if he left a comment on it. He probably left some comment saying, good job, Steve, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, to me it was good evidence to show Gary that rotational inertia would explain his paradox confusion. So this experiment that doesn't show a lever, it shows an imbalanced pendulum, somehow proves me wrong. No, it's not good evidence. It's really poor evidence, actually. It's pitifully poor evidence. It's square wheels on the cart kind of evidence. It's doing the, you know, air track on a slant or something. All right. In his Today Live, he has conceded he doesn't understand why your lever lost energy. I don't understand. I frankly didn't say that entirely. What I said was one of my objections. I thought about it and said that can't be an objection as long as that thing hanging down doesn't have mass on it. But if the thing hanging down has mass, well then I'm not confused. Alright. But puts it down to a fault with your experiment. No surprise. He asks why the pendulum is there. But I guess it's needed for the oscillation, ? Again, I can only say, what the fuck? I mean, you know, I showed it oscillating. I mean, do you see? There's nothing to stop this from oscillating. There's no knots here, by the way. We start saying there's knots in this lever. No lever, no knots, no anything. Okay, it oscillates just fine. No problem. No pendulum needed. I don't need to attach any third arm.
Does what you logically understand.
Yes, this moves 4 times the distance. This moves 1 amount of distance. Because it's a 4-to-1 relationship. So it looks imbalanced, but it's perfectly balanced. It moves 1 mass 4 times the distance. It moves 4 masses 1 time the distance. Perfect conservation of momentum. There's no point in doing the experiments, right? Because you people don't care, all right? So Brozo proved it. I've proved it. Levers work. Now deal with why you believe in a formula that says levers create free energy, because there is no free energy. So obviously your kinetic energy formula is the only thing left to be broken. The lever isn't broken. Your formula is broken. It doesn't work. It doesn't predict reality. That's the rational concession you need to make, fuckheads. Alright, no, I don't know which experiment that was or how it is relevant to your one. To me, it was a good evidence, Joe Gary, that rotate... Okay, I did that. In his Today video, he conceded... Okay, I did that. Alright, yeah, we did that whole comment. Alright, so mindless comes... This is the key part, right? So these... arrogant fucks keep talking as if they understand anything. They clearly don't understand any of these concepts mechanically. I mean, this idiot thought a quick release was picking up a book. That somehow he would increase the speed of his hand's movement by picking up a book. No, that slows you down, retard. That doesn't speed you up. Okay. Yes, without any weight above or below, the lever will simply rotate in a circle. So that it won't do. It's supposed to be balanced. That's the whole point. It doesn't spin in a circle unless you put enough energy in to make it spin in a circle. So if you just tilt it, it'll just go back to being even again. That's what a balance does. That's why it's called a balance. That's why people used it for thousands of years, because it balances. It wants to balance. It doesn't want to rotate. It doesn't want to stay crooked. It doesn't want to do any of that. It wants to balance. That's where it will go. So just a big, fat, stupid, ignorant, dumb thing to say. Really fucking stupid. So this is an asshole who puts a video up of mine that I took down because I said something stupid. And then he does something really stupid. He says something profoundly stupid. Alright. You know, glass house asshole. But I don't have him on videotape saying it. So I can't, you know, because these cowards can't make videos. They can't talk over their videos. They can't explain anything. Alright. These dickless wonders. Alright, anyway. Lever balance have a small portion of weight below and function just for this purpose. So that dysfunctions the lever. It doesn't make it function. That's the way you break it. That's not the way you make it. Alright, you can also achieve oscillations if you tie a rod, as in Despair Labs or Gary have done. In that case, oh yes, I didn't tie anything, frankly, but anyway. In that case, I believe the knot, so there's no knot, of the rope will provide force whenever the rod rotates too far in one direction. No, the fishing line went right straight through the hole as a loop. Alright, so it didn't provide any friction except a tiny bit of rotation over the tiny fulcrum. And that's the whole idea of eliminating the ability for the weight to be transferred or for the energy to be transferred to the fulcrum, is to make the fulcrum as small as possible, so there's as little contact as possible. Because you can't transfer energy without contact. But you're too stupid to understand that. God damn. So then the iron asshole says, I think he believes a balanced lever will oscillate if given a disturbance. Yeah, duh. Yeah, that's what I think. Yes, I think you understand that I believe that, and yet you're not calling this asshole an idiot for what he just said, but you'll insult me. You see how you're such a fucking hypocrite? He also believes that the spring will deliver double the velocity to one mass, double the distance. I don't give a shit about this distance crap. It's about the velocity, okay? We've already shown how friction doesn't work as a measure of energy. It doesn't take your energy evenly per velocity. The faster you go, the less energy you lose to friction per distance. Alright. He continually asserts this must be a fact. Yes, I continue to assert just what Professor Lewin said. I mean, he said it, okay? You know, if I could extend the clip longer, he says it, okay? Twice the mass, half the velocity. Alright, as I said, he is a bit thick. So is Professor Lewin, apparently. So why don't you call Lewin thick? Okay, and will not accept being wrong. So, you talk so arrogant. So you really think you have proof that I'm wrong. You haven't provided any explanation for the Mythbusters experiments. You haven't provided any explanation for Brozo's cue ball experiment. You haven't provided any explanation for the experiment I did with the lever balancing perfectly and oscillating perfectly. And you haven't accounted for anything I've drawn on the board or any conversations about guns or spaceships or any other example of how your theory doesn't work. Nothing. And you talk this shit. Really, quite disgusting. Alright, so little Johnny walks funny. You know, because his dick is up his ass. actually ask what the mass of the single weight is and the distance. Well, the assumption is he has the distances right and the weights right. So you should be able to at least assume that. The tricky part is the third arm. That's the one you got to ask about. All right. So that's it on that stupid, shitty channel. So let's see if there's any comments. No chat yet. Okay, good. All right, so we'll move on to, I think there's some crap. All right, so that one we've done, the pool ball. So that's out of the way. My video, don't need to do that. So we'll do this one. All right, so they added little Johnny Walker. Walks funny because he's got his dick up his ass. All right, hi Steven, how's your back today? Okay, well that's, who cares? Why should I don't care? All right, so he did nothing comment. Then he does his typical V equals 2E divided by M, says you. So V equals V plus something. Oh, it's the square root. Okay. All right. So there's no experimental confirmation of anything except Brozo doesn't also know what a quick release is. So this is a video with his stupid carts where he lets two carts go, this way. A cart going twice the speed as the other cart, by the way, and it's not an insubstantial speed. So Brozo just is complaining, so we'll just ignore that. Goofy, bully, I don't know what that is. Straw man failed every physics test during his first year of high school physics. So he keeps ratting on, just keeps ragging on about this, like, who would care anyway? There's arguments being made. I mean, who cares? I mean, whether somebody even went to high school. They're still entitled to make an argument. I guess you don't understand that part. But yes, your obligation is to counter their argument, not to counter their authority. Okay? Disqualifying their medical degree doesn't change whether they did good surgery or not. All right. After which she immediately dropped physics, and none of that happened. So I had a physics teacher who was a little nerdy putz, okay, and we didn't get along. And this was during my, high school, get stoned every day kind of period. And so, yeah, I wasn't really much of a participant, okay, in the class. I showed up late. I really was an asshole. But who cares? He was an asshole back. So we didn't like each other at all. Okay, he wore a bow tie. He was a little anal, putzy, typical, and we just didn't get along. All right. And so he tried to fail me. And so I forced the issue and forced him to explain that to the principal of the school. And so in the principal's office, he interrogated me on physics questions, and guess what? I had the right answers. And so he had to concede I couldn't have possibly failed the class because I actually learned too much. All right, and they didn't have another, physics class to take, so I didn't take it. They had advanced biology, but the next year, but I wasn't going to take that because I didn't want to dissect roadkill. So, and I also didn't need the credits because I just saved my 7 credits for passing the physics test. The physics course. So I already had more credits than I needed to graduate by my junior year. So yeah, the senior year I didn't take shit. I didn't go to school my senior year, frankly. I had a 463 cut slips or something like that. But all this is so fucking irrelevant. And this is the crap these assholes have to keep digging up. Any facts you give about your life, they have to pervert it and convert it into some stupid, idiotic story that isn't the fucking truth. They have to lie about it, and then you have to talk about it again. Well, that's not my interest. It's just disgusting that these liars are allowed to walk the earth. All right, during the first year, she almost drove her physics teacher insane. So all of this is just bullshit. It's just, this isn't accurate. Okay. For Goofy, even the most simple physics book is still way too difficult. So, whatever. I'm not going to argue. There's some physics that's way too difficult. If you haven't found any part of physics way too difficult, then, you really haven't explored physics much. So go start getting into all that color crap, quantum color, chroma bullshitty. Okay, and see how well you do with that, fuckhead. You can't figure out how a lever works. Alright. She can only understand baby talk. Let's see. How low intelligence makes she cannot understand the very, very basics of physics equations. So I understand them fine. I understand them. They're not accurate, okay? So there's no F equals mass times acceleration squared. Okay? Acceleration velocity squared. That doesn't work, okay? So it's not per second. Okay? It's just per second. And you can't figure that out, fuckhead. So I believe there was a whole bunch of trash talking by some other turd here. Let me just make sure. Yeah, I thought it was on this video. Yeah, the logical imperialist. He had a whole rag about how I should be driven off the internet. So let's see. Maybe it's just not showing up. Let's see, 9 days ago, there it is. Yeah, he's talking like I'm back with my good old days. I've been making videos every day. There's nothing has changed about the schedule of my videos, so it's just so amazing. And of course he keeps doing this doxing me thing, which is disgusting. So, I mean, it's just, and he's, I could read what it says, but I mean, it's, alright, I'll take it off the screen just because, it is just so rude that people allow other people to dox people on their videos. They don't take any responsibility. It's just such cheap, stupid behavior. I mean, they just can't make a stand-up argument. They can't do anything fair or appropriate. Everything has to be a cheat. They have to cheat every single circumstance. They have to cheat. They can't even admit that they probably should redo the Eddington experiment. It'd be a good idea to spend the $15 to do that experiment. Alright, so he says it's evil hate speech. Of course, I flagged his videos for hate speech. I don't know if it goes through to Google. Well, why should you? So you should decide what's on the fucking internet? This is these people's attitudes. Or why he has the courage again to post such verbiage on YouTube. Again, I haven't discontinued. I've been the most consistent producer of video content, that you could find on the internet. I haven't taken any vacations. I haven't taken weeks off or disappeared for months or even days for 20 years. I mean, it's just so funny a comment. I mean, somehow he's too stupid to even understand how to use the internet and thinks I've been somewhere. Alright, you should look into it and refute the man as well. So he hasn't touched anything. And so, it's just foul. Alright. It's just foul. Anyway, so that's enough of that shit. And so, let's see if there's any other lever crap I can pull out of this. So we did the spring thing, which is pretty convincing, frankly. Okay, I mean, you have to go through a brozo video to find the clip. Oh, and then you get those kind of things that'll really shrivel you up big time. But he doesn't, there's so little clip of the actual experiment. It's all him just doing his counting thing.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 and a half was it again?
Yeah, 11 and a half, 11 and 11 and a half, yeah. And then he counts the other side. And obviously the fact is the two balls aren't very similar. So, I mean, it's not like it's exactly the same thing. In terms of, you're going twice the speed, you can imagine it probably skids across and it doesn't do as much rotational. See how well it rotates.
Only before the line and now it's significantly past the line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, it's not
7, 8,
rotating at
9,
all. You
10,
see the number?
11.
Didn't rotate at all.
11 and a half.
No rotation. Okay, so it just skid right across the paper. All right, so let's go look at a blue one and see if it's rotating. You see, you can't see it because he does all this crap on top of the videos. Oh, he's just
22,
such
23,
an
24,
asshole.
25, 26, 27, 28, 29.
All right, you can see the
29
8
for the green.
rotating. Okay, so it does
Three.
rotate. Let's see
So
how
the yellow
how
one's
much.
gone over the start line, and then the black one, the green one rather.
I mean, this was a retarded experiment. Because obviously, it has to be twice the speed, because they're both being pushed by the same spring force. So, obviously, this half of the lever has to move twice as fast as this half of the lever. So there really was no doubt. But his numbers are actually not even. So he got 13 and 29. So it's even less 2 to 1 in the perfect circumstance than his actual 19 and 11. So that's kind of ironic also. Let's see how much the other one rotates.
I'll add a half to the left one, to the yellow one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Okay,
7,
well you
8.
can see it's rotating. So this ball here is rotating. So this one's spinning, the other
9,
one's
10, 11,
skidding.
12, 13.
See that's rotating. That's rotating around and around. So part of the energy of the blue ball has been absorbed, okay, by the
And a
rotation.
half again. Oh, yeah, 13 and a half for the yellow one. Counting the green one now, 13.
It's now
14,
in
15,
the
16,
ball has
17,
more
18,
energy
19,
than it can
20,
it's showing
21,
because
22,
part of
23,
its energy
24,
is in the
25,
form of
26,
its
27,
rotation. All right. So that's why it came up 29. That's why it was a little bit slower than it should have been. It's because part of the energy is now in the rotation, where the other one just skids across. So these are all, these are details. Oh shit, you didn't see that because I had the other thing off. Okay, well, shit happens, as they say. Do. So we'll do it again. Just oh shit. All right. So you should be able to see it from here. So if you look at the blue
start
ball,
line and the black one, the green one rather, is bob on the start. So I'll add a half to the left one.
all right. I don't need the babble
1,
by
2, 3,
brozo.
4.
All right. If you look at this spot on the yellow one, it's not going to move. It's just going to stay there. This spot on the blue ball is going to rotate. So you can understand this one is going so fast it's not rotating. It's skidding right across the film, where this one is heavier, it's moving slower, and part of the energy will go into the angular momentum.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
You can
10,
see
11,
that
12,
turning.
13
It's
and a half
turning.
again. Oh, yeah, 13 and a half.
Okay. 13 and a half, and then he'll count the
Counting
rest.
green
Will
one
be
now, 13,
29.
14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 28. Third go.
Okay, so 13 and 28. Okay, not exactly 2 to 1, a little bit off. And frankly, he was a little bit off of the more perfect experiment where you just compare the same force moving both the objects independently, and it comes out 19 and 11. Very close to 2 to 1. That would be the perfect answer. So it's a decisive piece of evidence. Is as good as the Mythbuster. So this piece of brozosian crap is as good a piece of evidence against kinetic energy. Do you actually believe that the same spring compression can create twice as much energy? Do you believe that somehow the heavier ball somehow, just didn't get the energy it was supposed to get or something? I don't even know what you're thinking. How do you make sense out of it? You conserve the momentum perfectly, which means you have to have twice as much energy over here, kinetic energy. You don't have a choice. If you perfectly conserve the momentum, you have to have twice as much energy over there. How is that possible? And then just keep ignoring the argument. So for 2 years I make the argument. For 2 years you ignore the argument and just hurl fucking useless insults. You're just such lousy, rotten, stinking, crappy human beings. Such scum. Eek. I mean, really, your your parents should be fined. All right, so no comments. Yeah, I do have to wonder. So there's only 3 viewers now, 5 viewers. So I think YouTube is dissing me now. So because those are the lowest view numbers yet. So they're declining. So the more videos I make, the view numbers are declining. Yeah, I don't think it should work that way exactly. But whatever. It's the internet. So that's what you have to deal with. So apparently there's not going to be any possibility to do this live interaction thing. Now the truth is, these videos are not bad quality. I mean, my thing against doing live videos was in the past the audio would kind of suck and the video quality wasn't that good. So that's why I didn't do them for just doing videos. Like Piro's videos, for example, were kind of crappy, but that's partly because he has a shitty microphone. But anyway, but yeah, there's just no point doing live videos if there's not going to be, no one's going to be notified in the proper time, or any of that crap's going to happen. Then it's just not much point in it. So we'll have to rethink. Plan B. Go back to the old game, and there'll be a few less distractions in the video, because there's no, like I said, there's no point in doing this little extra wait for a comment thing. It's just no point. So I won't do it. Yeah, it's the simple solution. Alright, so we'll call it a video, and till the next time, and such and so forth and whatnot. Hit the button, Gracie.